The Labour movement is proposing that the CPF contribution rate for older workers be raised by 1 to 2 percentage points this year. This is specifically for workers aged above 50 to 55. NTUC also says employers should pay a bigger proportion of the increase.
53-year-old Annie Ng would be among the 200,000 or so workers who stand to benefit should the government heed the Labour movement's call. Currently, the CPF contribution rate for workers like Mdm Ng is 32.5%. It's a 3.5 percentage point gap compared to workers aged 50 and below, whose contribution rate is 36%. The Labour movement wants to see the gap halved. It says with Singaporeans living and working longer, there's urgent need to help workers save more for retirement and health care.
会有帮助到我们的，因为我们年纪大了嘛，人以后应该很需要那个保健户口啦，人又不用说给孩子他们太大的压力。
The Labour movement expects employers to contribute at least 1 percentage point more into their workers' CPF. Anything below that, it says, would be meaningless. On employer concerns over wage pressures, NTUC says now is as good a time as ever to move.
Is it more opportune to make such moves when the labour market is tight, where the orders are there and manpower is short, or is it to wait for the opposite to happen when you have a recession? Our view and from experience is that all considered, it is better to do it in a tight labour market.
Any increase in employees' CPF contribution rates, says Mr. Ng, should go into the ordinary account, which many Singaporeans use to pay their housing mortgages. Now, in the long term, the Labour movement wants to see a review of CPF contribution rates and ceiling. Now, this could be in the area of adequacy, looking at just how much a worker needs to save for retirement. Another area is to look into greater parity in contribution rates between employer and employees across all age bands. The last time CPF rates were reviewed was more than 10 years ago in 2003. Since then, contribution rates have either met or surpassed the target set across all age bands. The employers' contribution rates have also remained below that of employees, with the widest gap also seen in the above 50 to 55 age group. The last time employer and employee CPF contribution rates were equal was in 1997-98. To lessen the burden on businesses, employer contributions were reduced following the Asian financial crisis.
Businesses we spoke to say they want time to prepare for this change. They're calling for 8 to 9 months' notice.
Like businesses across the country, Ya Kun Cafe's operating costs will go up if employers' CPF contributions for older workers increase. But the company is expanding, and in a tight labour market, such a move is in line with its hiring strategy.
In order to continue to attract and retain these staff, I think this is a good incentive to keep them within the company and encourage them to work.
Almost a third of Ya Kun's total workforce is between 50 and 55 years old. This is one company who says their commitment to hiring seniors will not change, even if CPF rates go up. But what about other businesses? The Association of Small and Medium Enterprises does not think the move will affect the hiring of older workers.
I don't think over 1.5% CPF business would take that kind of stand. But if you say I'm going to raise to 3.5% overnight, I think business might be quite alarmed if that happens. So we are very appreciative. It's a progressive approach.
Experts say more CPF from employers will benefit older workers overall, especially those with qualifications and experience. But one Labour economist says seniors without either of those may suffer in terms of their employability.
The question really is, will their wage competitiveness actually be preserved when you have this restoration? Will it actually become even more expensive for employers who are considering quite a large number of substitutes in the labour market?
The employability of those who are out of jobs could also be affected if CPF rates go up, says the Employers Federation. So it supports the labour movement's call to review CPF contribution rates over the long term, so businesses will not face any unexpected changes.